Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine with Behind the Markets. Happy Thursday. Today is Thursday, February 12th. We've had construction in our office. They're redoing the roof. Lots of hammering, noise, tar, smells, all the things. So I've told the team the past few days not even to show up. But I had to sneak in here today. We ran a Dylan's Diary rerun yesterday. But I had to sneak in here today to really talk about this note out from Bank of America, warning, sounding the alarm on the U.S. dollar. And they're talking about all the things that we are talking about. Basically, policy uncertainty, they list in their notes, and rising U.S. debt levels as major risks. But according to the bank, a disorderly drop or decline in the dollar is defined as a drop of more than 5% in a single month. And they're saying that could trigger a dramatic sell-off in long-term treasuries, really tighten financial conditions, raise interest rates, and have all these basic domino effects that are really, really, really bad. And, again, this is one of those things that we have been talking about for a very long time. We've been lucky here. We've been able to talk about this since 2022, when we created that report, Death of the Dollar, okay? And what we saw at the time was that policies under both administrations, Trump 1, Biden, and Trump 2, were really killing the dollar. And that's why we created that report. And we issued it. And obviously, what's happening now is the things that we were talking about in 2022 are now being talked about on Wall Street in a major way. That's why this Bank of America note is so important. It doesn't mean that we are smarter than Bank of America by 3 years, or JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs or all these companies. What it means is that because we're independent, we can talk about anything without worrying about offending the powers that be. If you're Bank of America, let's say JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America came to the same conclusion we came to in 2022, they just couldn't say it because the government's a big customer. They just can't piss off the powers that be. The great thing about being an independent research firm is we can just follow it where it goes, follow the yellow brick road to where logic takes us. And logic tells us this: the dollar is being replaced as the world's reserve currency by gold. The logic tells us this: when China stopped buying U.S. treasuries, gold started going higher. They started buying all that extra. When you think of the trade surplus they have with us, we'll call it an $80 billion trade surplus per month, right? You think of that trade surplus. When they get all this $80 billion or $100 billion in a month, it's about $1 trillion a year. They'll call it $80 billion a month. They get this $80 billion from selling products into America. They used to take that money and buy U.S. Treasury bonds. Now they stopped doing that. They're taking that money and buying gold. You understand? That's what we mean when we say the dollar is collapsing. It's losing its role as the world's reserve currency. They are taking that money, they are buying gold with it, and it's not just China that is doing this. It is other countries that are doing this. Again, I know the president likes to beat up on Mark Carney in Canada, but Mark Carney ran the Bank of England and Bank of Canada. He was like their Alan Greenspan, their Federal Reserve Chairman, their Jerome Powell. You think that Canada is going to be buying U.S. Treasury bonds? What's happening now is accelerating this process of the dollar collapsing. So, basically, there are a couple of things that are driving this. It's not just all Trump's fault. We issued this report in 2022, the moment that President Biden, the Biden administration, seized Russia's central bank assets, Russia's assets in U.S. treasuries and all that stuff. They seized them. So what China did, looking to capitalize on every mistake we make, what they did, that was a stupid policy, because basically if you're going to seize, if Russia buys U.S. treasury bonds and then invades Ukraine and you seize their assets, you are telling every other country on earth, if you buy treasury bonds and you do something we do not like, we can seize your assets. So what that did was it got China to start going on the road and telling every country, you might not be ready to buy the Chinese currency to replace the dollar, but at least diversify away from the dollar and buy gold. and gold starts now to become a reserve currency alternative, which is what is happening right now. I am telling you, folks, this is one of those things that will go down, as I said in 2022, a catastrophic mistake. Because if we lose the dollar as the world's currency, the reserve currency, you will be 25 to 30% poorer, period. Everything you own will go down 25, 30% immediately. Imagine your stock portfolio down 30%, your house down 30%. Everything will be down by 25, 30%. And that's conservative. Some people say 40% because of all the deficit spending that we've been doing, all the capital that we've been sucking in from our competitors. So this is serious stuff. We warned about it, wrote a report about it in 2022. If Bank of America, we want to be so ahead of things that we write about them. And then 2-3 years later, when it's on the front page of the Wall Street Journal or Bank of America institution is writing about it, we're way on to the next thing, which we are, which they'll be writing about in 3 years too. Anyway, be aware, all these policy decisions that are happening from presidents of both parties. This is not partisan. I'm not a partisan human. I don't even see the world that way. But presidents on the left, the party on the left, the party on the right that's in power right now, they are really helping China achieve its goal of making the dollar not the world reserve currency. And if you have children and grandchildren, you can't imagine how much worse our country would be. We would be off, period, for losing that exorbitant privilege. Anyway, that's all I have today. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow.